welcome back to the Passenger Seat for episode 2. This week, like this is a weekly thing, it's not. This episode, I've got another Jeep friend coming in, and I'll warn you right now, you might see the lights come and go. Damn, we got a little bit of rainstorm going on, a lot of wind and rain noise, so we'll see how that gets picked up. But enough of that. My friend Dan is going to jump in here with me, and we'll go through the 10 questions with him. So, Dan, welcome to the Passenger Seat.
Thank you.
So, we're going to run you through the 10 questions like I did in the first episode, and we'll just chat from there.
All right.
So, first question, and these are, when I did these, if you watched the first episode a long time ago when I did it, these are all, he's a Jeeper, I'm a Jeeper, and the questions were written Jeeping. But I've got other friends that Subaru, they're Overlanders, so we don't hate. This is gonna be, I'm gonna stick to Jeeping with you because you're a Jeep guy.
Okay.
Otherwise, when I
wouldn't know that.
Right. When I get my Subaru friends in here, it's gonna be about overlanding. What is your overlanding vehicle? But today we're gonna stick to Jeeps. So first question, how long you been into Jeeping?
So I would say probably about Jeeping, probably about 15 years. So I've owned a Jeep prior to that, but wasn't really a what I call Jeeping,
Jeeper.
like off-road or
Yeah.
Overlander. Yeah.
Back then you're just I call them Jeep owner.
Yes,
There's Jeep owners and there's Jeepers.
I was a Jeep owner.
No off-road, drive it to the store, drive around looking cool.
Yeah.
And then
the
Jeep culture grabbed you?
Yeah, and then it grabbed me. So my first Jeep was a
We'll get to that.
Oh, we're gonna get to that? Okay, I was just gonna go.
No, go ahead. I'm just messing with you.
Okay. Was a 1998 Cherokee Sport.
Oh, I think that's what my first one was.
Yeah.
A 98 when I was up in Alaska. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I actually inherited it from my dad.
Okay.
So hadn't really known anything about Jeeping, Jeeps, that, the culture, that, this and that. And he came home one day with a 98 Jeep Cherokee. It was a couple years old. And he was like, I want to go in these Jeep Jamboree things. And I was like, what the heck are those things? And he's like, I'm going to do it and put a 4-inch lift on the thing, 33-inch tires.
All in.
Yep. And he was like, I'm gonna go Jeep Jamboreeing.
Awesome.
So that was our first foray into Jeeps.
Yeah, I think that I had been off-roading and four-wheeling for a few years before I got mine, but when I got into actually Jeep brand, that was my first one. I had got divorced. I worked for a while to get debt-free, and then threw that all the way and bought a house and a Jeep in the same week, and it was a 98. I'm pretty certain, it's a long time ago, but I'm pretty certain it was a 98, brand new. Drove it off the showroom floor. When you bought I was up in Alaska, when you bought a new vehicle from that dealership, they got it all set and ready right in the showroom. They opened the big glass doors and you drove it right out of the showroom down the road. It's kind of neat, but cool. That was my first one too, so
yep.
Nice. Well, let's move on. How did you get into Jeeping? You just answered that one with
Well, I'll elaborate just a little bit, because that was my dad's Jeep. I ended up inheriting it. He passed away about 5 years after that. And my mom's like, I don't need this Jeep, it's lifted and whatever else. So I inherited it, and I still didn't really know anything about off-roading. So got it, probably drove that thing around for a couple years, just around, not off-roading it. And then we met some friends who had Wrangler.
Okay.
So we got to know them pretty well, and they sucked us in to Silver Lake Sand Dunes, off-roading Manistee National Forest. So that's when we got sucked in, and the Cherokee was awesome, and I loved it, but it just wasn't quite enough to keep up with them.
There's something about CJs and Wranglers. I mean, we've owned, I think, 3 Liberties. I've lifted 2 of them. I own the Cherokee. We've owned several different Jeeps, and I'm not a hater on anything. The XJs are awesome. The Liberties, I think, are underappreciated. We've had great time with them off-roading them a little bit. Nothing crazy, but I might catch some flack for this if anybody actually watches this. I love them, but there's no substitute for a CJ or a Wrangler. It's something about being able to take the doors and the top off, and just when my last Wrangler got wrecked, I was driving to Liberty for a while, and I told Lisa, we can pull the trailer, we put the rooftop tent on the trailer, and we can just drive to Liberty. It'll get us wherever we want to go. And it just wasn't the same though. I told her it's almost like making it to the majors and getting demoted to the minors almost. I wanted to get back to the majors and got another Wrangler, so we're back. But now it's not hating on the other ones. I like them. They're great for what they are, and especially the XJs. They're another straight axle, so they're great too. Yeah. But I just love being in my Wrangler.
Well, we always tease our FJ. I wheel with FJs and 4Runners, and even an Xterra. Guy runs an Xterra with us once in a while, and very capable. But I always joke with them.
Yeah, you got to have
Can't
that.
take the top and the doors off.
Yeah,
can't take.
You guys getting hot in there? It's kind of nice and breezy.
Right,
out here.
right, yeah.
Get that wind through my hair. No, that's cool. And back in the day, before I got into off-roading vehicles, we were in quads a lot, and we had that same kind of banter. And it's probably with everything, whether it's sports or whatever. But like back then, me and my buddy were in the Polarises. Some of our other buddies that rode with us, so there was Hondas, Kawasaki's, Yamahas, and Suzuki's. They're all great machines, but you have to have that banter. It's just good fun.
Oh yeah,
it's good fun.
We have a good time.
Awesome. All right. Here we go. What was your first Jeep?
1998 Cherokee Sport.
We're gonna move right on. We talked about that one. Okay. What's your favorite style of Jeeping? Sand, rocks, snow, mud, trails? Your absolute favorite. If we had to go out today, what do you want to do?
My favorite. We do Silver Lake. Sand is not my favorite. My Jeep's not built for the sand. So I kind of struggle on the sand, and it gets a little boring at times. Doing the same thing over and over again. Mud, I don't mind mud, but I really hate cleaning it up.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. When it's mud, I'm not going out for a day of bogging.
No.
And like when we go out overlanding and there's mud holes in the trail, it's fun to hit them, but I ain't gonna spend all day in it. I'm not going out there for that purpose. I'm the same thing. I don't want to deal with cleaning that much mud and getting it everywhere.
Rocks. I'm not the kind of guy that likes to hear the rock on the metal scrape so much, but I do like technical stuff. Yeah. We've been in the mountains in West Virginia, in Tennessee. We've done some black diamond trails there that are really technical, and you've got rocks and things that you need to avoid.
You really got to pick your line.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I like doing that type of off-roading.
I do too. I like that too. That is a lot of fun. We don't do it as much anymore as we're getting older, getting bounced around and worrying about damaging the Jeep. And I always say, you've heard me say, I'm not out to bend steel.
Right.
If my plastic fender flares, or even on the one I have now, or the sheet metal fender flares I'm refinishing, if those get bent a little, they're bolt on. But I don't want to bend factory steel.
I'm not into bending the body and any of that stuff. I get dense and I'm just like, ugh, just cringe.
Yeah. And do you like snow? Do you like winters?
I don't mind it. Again, my Jeep's doesn't do the best in the snow.
That's one thing about Jeeps, is you can build them so many different ways, as everybody knows. And I know exactly what you're talking about, because my last Jeep, the yellow one that got wrecked, it was built for overlanding. It was heavy. It wasn't good. I quit going out to Silver Lake, like I've talked about, because of the top heaviness, and it just isn't built for it. We quit going out to the dunes with that one. And then it's the same thing with snow, and they're built like that. There's definitely ways of building them specific for terrains, and the unfortunate part is that can take away from other areas. So
snow is kind of like sand, and I don't have tires that are really built for that. My tires are built more for the mud, rock crawling. When
I was stationed in Montana and then in Alaska, when in Montana I wasn't Jeeping yet. I was off-roading, but I had a couple different ones. One I had a Mitsubishi, it's a Mitsubishi Montero, really, but it was called the Dodge Raider. They imported them, put their name on them. And it was just a two-door, kind of a Jeep type vehicle, just a two-door four-wheel drive, but it's a hard top. And out there in Montana and Alaska, I loved winter wheeling. It was so much fun because what you could get through, and we'd take turns. We might just be out in the field, 5 of us out in the field in different vehicles. It's like taking turns getting stuck, and the game was who could get over first to pull you out. But the nice thing was, I had heated garage. So the cleanup, when you're done snow wheeling, you pull it in the garage, go
Real
in the house,
easy.
get up in the morning, it's done, it's dry.
Right.
And the other thing is when you get stuck in snow, where if you get stuck down in a mud hole, and I probably talked about this on the last show with Tony, is it's like suction and you got to get it up out of that mud to get
Right.
moving. Where snow, you got to dig yourself out to where you're not framed out. You dig yourself to where your vehicle sometimes literally drops to get traction and get out. So it's a whole different style of recovery. And sometimes it's a lot easier in the snow to recover for self-recovery.
Right.
If you don't have a winch, if you're shoveling and whatever. But I enjoyed snow wheeling, but as I've talked about before, is the older I get, the less I like being cold. But
Don't like being cold, and with snow, there's just something about you can't control every situation, because if you're on a hill and it's slippery,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what you do. You could be going
gets really
in a
sketchy.
direction, and you're just going.
right.
Not
Yeah.
much you can do about it.
Yeah, where mud, you're basically down in a hole. You're not
Right,
going anywhere.
right.
Literally anywhere.
Yes.
Until you get yourself out of that mess. But yeah, it's a good point. But and now, like, we're more into the overlanding, trailing. But snow wheeling was a lot of fun. I don't care for the mud. When my Jeep isn't overloaded with weight, we're looking forward this year to getting back out to Silver Lake Dunes a little bit. But yeah, exploring the forest and running trails, and hopefully this summer we're going to get to do a little bit more of that. Lisa and I are doing that trip out west, and hope to get, it's going to be a lot of miles and a lot of stops, so we're not going to spend a lot of time in any one spot, but we hope to hit Moab and a couple other places where we'll get some good exploring.
Oh yeah,
Hopefully
that'll
some good
be
videos.
awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Looking forward to some good videos in Moab for sure.
Yeah, that's how I am too. Honestly, I'm just looking forward to getting back to Moab. We went there one time, and ever since then, I think it was 7 years ago, and every year when we're planning our vacations, I'm telling her, like, when are we going back to Moab? And
Yep.
it's like, well, I would like to go to this place this year or whatever, and not just on my wife. I mean, we got friends that we go visit, we do different things, but for different reasons, we just have not been back to Moab. And man,
It's a long drive.
it is
It's
that
a long
yeah,
drive.
from here in Michigan, it's tough to get out there without taking a long vacation, and we
Yeah.
both have full-time jobs and vacations and schedules to meet with families and different things, so it can be really hard. But like I said,
Yeah.
it doesn't leave you. That's one of the places that doesn't leave you. We went out there that one time, and I just can't wait to get back. It's just eats away trying to get back. Your current Jeep.
Current Jeep, 2012 JKU Rubicon
Is nice.
Dozer.
Does
So
it?
it's a pretty unique color. You don't see a lot of those around.
In I agree. In the pictures that you see, like if you watch our videos, you've seen his Jeep. We've been Jeeping a lot together lately this year. Since we've met, we clicked, and our wives clicked also, and we just really enjoy camping and hanging out together. So if you've watched my videos, you've seen his Jeep. Me and Lisa jokingly call it our local orangey, but it really isn't the same.
It's not.
Some of the videos it almost looks yellow because of
Yep.
the sunlight and stuff, and some of the videos it looks very orange. So it's hard. You got to
Yeah.
see it in person.
It's not yellow and it's not orange. It's kind of between the two.
Very
and-
nice, more toward the orange.
Yeah, and some of our friends kid us because they're like, it looks like the short bus. So it's literally almost a school bus color. And if you look at the lines on a road, the yellow lines on a road, it's kind of that
Yeah.
color too.
My last Jeep, the yellow one, was detonator yellow, factory yellow, and that same. But if you sat them next to each other, yours wouldn't look yellow
Yeah,
at all
there's
next
a
to a
stark
yellow Jeep.
difference.
It's very orange, but not like orangey. And when I say orangey, if you don't watch Venture Forward, Chris Shantz, his Jeep is named Orangey. Check that channel out. But that's the reference I'm making. It's orangey.
Yeah.
But I love your Jeep. That thing is so cool.
Yeah.
You guys got that built and set up so nice that for I was gonna say for an overlanding Jeep, for any Jeep, it's just cool. It has a nice stance. It ain't overbuilt. It's built for overlanding, so you got the tent. It just is really nice. I
Yeah.
like
Well,
your
we've
Jeep.
put some. It has custom bumpers on it, which makes it look a little different.
Who made those?
So a friend and I made those. Burrow Overland. The Burrow. He's on Instagram as well, but we made custom aluminum bumpers for it. So he actually designed all the bumpers, and then we had them made So it's pretty cool. They're obviously unique and very lightweight.
What was that name? Black Rhino?
Black Rhino Off-Road.
Black Rhino. So if you've seen them, because even before I met him, when he started telling me that he was behind Black Rhino, I was like, holy crap, I've seen those. And I've seen that brand somewhere.
Yeah,
I've seen that
there's a
around.
Black Rhino wheel. Like they do rims and things like that. So there's another Black Rhino, but not off-road.
Okay. Maybe that's, I don't know. Might have been confused.
Yeah.
But but those bumpers are nice. I mean, they're really cool.
Never rust.
Aluminum. That'd be nice, because that's what I dealt with. I love the bumpers that I had on my yellow Jeep. Jeep Armory, check them out. Brian does a great job. He built mine, and I loved them. But I know what you mean. They're steel, and I painted them. And whenever there's stone chips or anything, or just when I didn't get the paint in around the welds good or whatever, those spots with steel, you're gonna deal with it one way or another, no matter what. You're gonna deal with some stuff.
Everything I've done, I've tried to keep it as lightweight as possible.
So
So don't lose all that lift I put on it, and keep the wear and tear down.
That's a good point, because ours was heavy. We had the big steel cage, the bumpers, the winch, the tent, just all our gear, everything that we did to it. And when it got wrecked and I pulled all that stuff off of it, I kind of stood back and looked at it. I was like, holy crap, it just looked like I put a lift on it. Just taking all the weight off it. But
yeah,
it was a great setup, man. That was like a kick in the gut. I told my wife it was like losing my best friend when that Jeep got wrecked, because we had it dialed in, and it just,
yeah. Now you're starting out, not necessarily starting all over, but
you
you can do whatever you want to with it.
And it when that got wrecked, it forced me to speed up the renovation of that my trailer. So we put the tent on that to pull, like I mentioned, behind the Liberty. And then me and Lisa, we were like, you know what, we really like this setup. The drawback is you are pulling a trailer, so it's one more thing to maintain. We got a lot more cargo room to carry stuff, and we came from backpacking, so even just getting into a Jeep was like, we're gonna do it all this room. Right. Now we got this trailer. It's like almost want to throw stuff in there to keep things from sliding around a little bit. But the only, I say everything has its pros and cons, and the only thing about pulling that trailer is it's a trailer, so the maintenance isn't really that much. When I say it's additional maintenance, but on a tight trail, we've had to turn around sometimes. I haven't been to the point yet where I've had to disconnect the trailer and spin it around. But there's been some narrow trails to where we had to carefully back up and find a place to be able to turn it around. So
yeah, your trailer's light enough where you can take it off and muscle it around.
I think we would be able to.
But yeah, the disadvantage of having the tent on the Jeep is every morning you gotta pack up and get ready to go, where you can leave your tent if you want to and take off.
And people are going to say, well, that's what overlanding is. And it is. But we're not out in Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, where we're doing a lot of, we do spend a night here, trail, spend a night next place, but we also do a lot of staying at the same campground and exploring trails out from there. So overlanding in Michigan is a little different. Regionally, things change, and the way Michigan is, overlanding is a little different than what you're used to seeing on the big channels of the people out in Utah and Colorado and Arizona, where we've got a lot of places to go, but they almost seemingly have unlimited BLM land and trails, and we have a lot of trails that we can run, but as far as true overlanding that style, Michigan's just different and from that, and
not as many wide open, not as much space, not as much distance to travel between.
Yeah, so our overlanding is more of, we're still exploring. We're exploring trails and finding new places that we haven't been and that kind of thing, but there is a lot of times where we end up camping back at the same location, and that is a benefit. It is nice being able to leave, even if it's just running to the store. You need something from the store, you don't have to tear down camp to do it.
Yep.
So it's kind of nice. Your favorite or your dream Jeep? Let's break that down. What is currently your favorite Jeep that's out there?
Well, if you talk about your dream Jeep, I would love to have a Jeep with a V8 in it.
Like new, like 392?
Well,
Or
yeah.
like a,
So I was just watching the 2024 Jeeps. They're starting to advertise and promote those. So now they've got the floating rear axle. They can tow 5,000 pounds.
Oh.
You can get the 392 in them. They got a Rubicon X, 35-inch tires. I would love to have one of those. Just like if I could drive one of those off the lot, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be sweet. I know I keep seeing videos on like some of the bigger channels. These guys are getting the 392s now, and it's funny. Just like Trail Recon, Brad on Trail Recon, when I saw his video and he fires that thing up and just listening to that V8 and
love that little rumble.
Oh yeah, and then I think I'm dropping names. They have no idea who I am. My channel's tiny, but Marco, who's Trail Brad's buddy.
Yep.
My wife likes watching Marco cook, but he's got 392 and that thing. They sound so awesome, and it's got a 5.7 Hemi Dodge Ram truck, and the sound of that is nice. I would love to have that.
Yeah, and
or
just
the
that
whatever
extra power.
Yeah.
Like in the sand dunes, that's
yeah.
that's where my 3.6 liter just is not the best either, because it doesn't downshift at the right time, and then it just doesn't have that power that can just keep you chugging up the hill.
And that's something I have not had. The Jeep I have now, my last one was 2009 with the 3.8, and this one, and it was automatic. And this Jeep that I have now is a 14 with the 3.6 with a stick. So it's gonna have to, each time we change Jeeps, because we had a TJ, and when I took the TJ out, it's fully capable of going up everything out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to learn the vehicle, so I was getting kind of angry, and my wife's like, calm down, I'm like getting embarrassed really, because I wasn't making it up test, not even like good efforts, and I had to figure out the vehicle. Once I figured it out, the RPMs, what gear, then we're going up everything out there with no problem. But it's learning that vehicle. Then we went out there with the 2014 or 2009 JKU with a 3.8 automatic. Same thing. I had to, I was getting frustrated because I wasn't making it up. I had to figure that vehicle out and then go up pretty much everything out there.
Yeah. I started to manually shift it. Like if you just leave it in a gear, it doesn't drop when you need to. Mm-hmm. And even then, you still don't, like it lags because you're like, I want to downshift. You downshift and it takes a second or two, and by then it's...
And with the automatic, the thing I had to do with mine, I was having trouble. It's actually my nephew. He's like, you need to disable your traction control. I was well, I hit the button and the light is on, and he's like, yeah, but it disengages when it basically takes over. And so we were getting almost to the top of test, and it was like, I wasn't losing traction spinning. It was actually bogging down. I couldn't figure it out. And my nephew was like, yeah, you disable the button, but you need to like pull a plug. So he got under the fender wall on the passenger side and pulled the plug, and when it fails safe, so it disengages all of your traction control. Then I had the full power of the Jeep, and then I was going up everything out there again. So then I got online and found the hack where there's a wire under your console. You can put a momentary switch in, and so it faults it out until you restart the vehicle. So then when we go out the dunes, I just hit that button, and then
go right.
Yeah. So I need to do that. Well, actually, this one's a stick, so I don't know if I'll have to do that on this one or not. So I may have
to. Might not have to.
Yeah. As soon as I get out there, I'll let you know.
You'll find out because they're open now.
Yeah, they opened April 1st, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because April Fool's Day they open.
But I just put 488 gears in mine, so I'm going to be learning how to drive it all over again in the sand.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. It's fun though. It throws a new challenge in, learning your own vehicle again. Yep. So. I said on the last episode it's kind of funny when your dream vehicle is my 48 Willys. I've always, since I was like 12 or 13, I've always wanted a flat fender Willys. Yeah. And I finally got one, and now I'm actually getting time to work on it, and I have a kind of a goal now where it got put on the back burner for a long time while my daughter was in sports, but now I'm actually getting out here and getting to work on it. I had a buddy that's coming over now and then and help me out, and we're starting to piece it back together.
Yeah, this is really cool.
So I'm really excited about getting this one back on the road and enjoying it. But so yeah, my dream Jeep has always been a old flat fender Willys, because in the movies when you're a little kid and like we used to see them in the comic books in the back page that you could buy a military surplus Jeep for $50. I think that was more urban legend than reality, but at 13, I didn't care. I didn't
Right.
know. You know, I was like, oh man, I got to get one of these someday.
Yep.
So I mean, it took me till I was 46 years old to get one, and then it sit for a while, but I have it. So
Right.
this will be.
It's coming along.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yep.
It won't be hopefully too much longer. But my other dream Jeep, I guess, now you say that, man, that 392 is pretty nice. But I love the old Scramblers.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
I love the Scramblers.
Yeah, those are cool.
I would love to be able to find one, and I think if I got a Scrambler, it wouldn't be stock, but I wouldn't like go all out on it. I would keep that as I'm getting older. I like to have a cool rig for daily driving.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a cool one. Maybe put some 33s on it or something, or some decent rims and tires. Other than that, it'd be cool to find one down, I don't know, Southern California, wherever, where they're not rusted out. That's still maybe original paint job or just a good shape. Put some wheels and tires on to make it look nice, and then just keep it as a daily driver and use it, and not kit it out for overlanding or off-roading or anything.
Yeah, like an older Jeep, I'd probably like a CJ.
7?
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are just sweet. Get a built-up one, kind of, with big tires on it.
Yeah.
Lifted. They just look. Ugh.
I gotta show you
Beefy.
my brother-in-law's. He's got an 85 CJ7. He bought brand new and still owns it to this day.
Nice.
It still has factory paint, and his was, I want to say that it was like the spring edition, so it's got a specific set of stripes on it.
Okay.
It does have a Chevy 350, and he does have, I think, 33s on it, so it's not stock by any means, but the body is still,
Yeah.
and original paint and everything. It's nice. It isn't rusted out. He's taking care of it. You don't see winners. What's funny is you don't meet a lot of people who buy a vehicle that long ago and keep it. They're the original owner for something that old.
Yep.
My sister, his wife, she bought an 88 Mustang LX 5.0. Still owns it. So that's a couple.
Yeah.
I don't know too many people that have bought a vehicle brand new, and the two of them each have done that. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, the LX that year, the 5.0, they say was actually faster than the GT.
Yes.
Because it was lighter.
Yep. I had a friend that had one of those. That's when I was in high school. Well, I graduated in '87, but.
Oh, me too.
So, yeah, I knew somebody that had an LX, and it was very fast.
Yep. My sister graduated 86. I was 87. She went to school. It's like one of those schools where you go for like 1 year data entry or whatever. I don't even know what she exactly did, but when she graduated from that and got her first full-time job, she bought her brand new car, her 88 LX. And when I went in the military after high school, so when I would come home on leave, she'd hand me the keys, and that would be my car to drive while I was home on leave. Oh man, that car's so much fun. I never did get a ticket either. Probably should have several times, but
Did she have to replace the tires after that?
no.
Okay.
I won't say that I didn't cost her a little bit of rubber, but I tried to be. I had fun with it, but I tried to be a little respectful too because it was hers. But what's your least favorite Jeep?
I don't know. Probably was it the TJ?
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just not.
I mean, out of all the Jeeps
It's
from the
like-
beginning, start to
Yeah.
Jeepsters, Commandos, the Commandos are cool.
Like any Jeep?
Any Jeep ever made.
Any
least
Jeep.
favorite, ugliest.
Well, the Commander tried to do the Cherokee.
Oh,
That boxy
Yeah,
thing that
yep.
was a abysmal fail from that standpoint.
I liked the front clip, but it just didn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
Didn't land, I guess.
I don't know. The older Jeeps, I don't have too many of them. If it's like a Wrangler-ish, the TJ was probably my least favorite, but I don't know. The new Jeeps, like the Cherokee.
You might actually give me some comments on this channel.
Oh,
Don't
really?
be negative for all the hate.
No, that's fine. I'm just not.
No, that's
I'm just not a
everybody's thing.
TJ.
That just caught me
TJ
off guard
guy.
because TJs are so popular.
They
so
are.
It kind of surprised me as well.
That's why
That's
I'd rather
funny.
have a CJ.
Yeah.
Give me a CJ or the JK.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of the newer ones, like that Cherokee, they call
The-
them Cherokee.
The new
No,
Grand.
just the
Oh, the
Cherokee,
Cherokee.
that
Okay.
little SUV-ish thing.
Oh
into
yeah,
that.
yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, not into that so
That one slipped my
much.
mind. Yeah, I don't even think about that one too much. Yeah, I'm not big on like. I think my wife likes them, but this what's the little car?
They have a Renegade.
No, it starts with a C. I want to say compressor, but I know that ain't Compass.
Oh, the Compass. Oh, yeah, that was
I'm not
terrible.
crazy about those either.
Oh, I completely put that one out of my mind. That one was terrible.
My least favorite is probably out of the line of thinking what you're thinking of, but the DJ3s. I see people online, the old mail Jeeps. I see people like get those because you can get them so cheap that if you want to build something in very low budget, you can get those pretty cheap, and then they turn them into off-roaders and stuff.
Right.
And I think those DJ3s are pretty ugly. I never liked those.
Yeah, I know. There's a Jeep down here that my wife wants. It's an older one, right off of 15 Mile Road, 57. It's white. It's right across from the winery.
Yeah, Jeepster. Yep, that's the old Jeepster.
Yes.
That guy, they want like 13 or 15,000 for it.
Do they really?
Yeah. I think came out of Wyoming, so it doesn't hardly have any rust.
Yeah, it looks like
they
it's
don't
in
salt
really
the
nice
roads out
shape.
there. I did stop and look at it when it's been out there for a while.
Yeah.
I stopped and looked at it one time, and the guy came out, and I was just like, I just saw it, I'm stopping to look. I'm not interested.
She's like, that's so cute.
But I was like, what do you guys want for that? And I can't remember now because it's been out there. It's when it first came out there. They first put it on that lot, but it was like 13 or 15, and it's going to take a pretty specific buyer to get that kind of money out of that thing. It'd be neat to have, but not for that kind of money.
No.
Too many other Jeeps I'd rather have if I'm going to put that money into them. But what's your best Jeep experience so far? What's your favorite trip or
best
any
Jeep
kinda
experience? Man, probably the best. I'll call them trips. We went out to Tennessee. I can't remember if Tennessee was Windrock. We went out to West Virginia and we were up in the mountains. And there was like a group of 4 of us. Rented a big house, and then we off-roaded for like a week in the mountains and just had a blast. Just had a blast.
Yeah, that would be cool. And as much as I love overlanding, to do something like that, I was just watching. I'm dropping their name, Ozark Overland. They did a trip out to Moab, and he said right on his video that his rooftop tent was off his Gladiator. And basically, in a previous video, I saw him talking about how heavy that Jeep is now with everything built out.
Yeah.
And they went on this trip out to Moab, and they did an Airbnb. And he said, as much they do a ton of overlanding. That's what their channel's all about. But for that trip, they did an Airbnb and lightened up his Gladiator.
Yep.
His wife drives JKU Rubicon, and they just wanted to go lighter for the trails that they'd be out on. They didn't want to be top heavy and whatever. And so as much as we love overlanding, I think that would be a blast just to go rent a house with a group and just venture out and do a lot of exploring and make a trip out something like that.
There's a lot of technical rock things that you can do, and so it takes a lot of concentration, and you got big drop-offs over on your one side, but it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be a blast. I'm trying to think what I gotta say, probably my favorite Jeep experience was probably Moab. We went out there. We flew out to Denver, visited my niece and her family. They were out there for about 3 years for business, for work. We flew out, visited them, rented a car, drove down to Moab, rented a Jeep for what ended up being 3 days, and then Jeeped around. And we were limited on what trails we were allowed to go on.
So it was just a stock rental Jeep?
It was built pretty much the same as the Jeep that my yellow Jeep was.
Okay.
They have Terraflex, I think 2.5-inch lift, and 30, I want to say they did put 33s. And basically that was all they did. A mild lift and tires, and that was it. And you were limited, like I said, on what trails you could go on, because they don't want them damaged, obviously. Yeah. There was another place you could rent more built Jeeps, and they allowed you to go on a lot more, but they cost a lot more too. And also, it was me, my wife, my daughter, and my mom. So wasn't the crew you're going to go out and get into the crazy stuff with anyway. But we did Onion Creek, we did Schaefer, Fins and Things. We did some really fun trails, even by what the limitations were. I don't think we were going to exceed the limitations anyways with that group I was in.
Right.
But just being out on the slick rock, the red rock, it's such a different world out there. And man, I just freaking loved it. I can't wait to get back. But even, like I said, the trails we went on were awesome. They're iconic trails that we see in all the videos, you know. And I want to go back out, and I want to do like the White Rim Trail. There's other trails I want to get out and do, and it depends on the trip, what time we have available. I would love to overland. I think it's the White Rim Trail. You can make it a 3-day, a 2-night overnight. I think some people do it in a day, but it's kind of pushing it. But it's been a little while since I researched it, because we haven't had planned on going back out there yet. But I would definitely like to get back out there, and it's just so cool.
Yeah,
I love it out there. Last question: what is your worst Jeep experience?
Worst. I can't say that I've had like any experience that I would call my worst Jeep experience. I've broke down a couple of times, right, and that puts a damper on the trip. But I would say probably, a breakdown story would be Drummond Island. We go up with a group of friends pretty much every year, and first day we hit Marblehead, and was going up this line, a Jeep exactly built like I was, went up a pretty tough line, and so I'm like, well, I can do that too. So I started going up the line. I didn't make it up a step, and the Jeep came back down and settled, and it snapped my rear drive shaft.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm out in the middle of nowhere, right, and we're like, great, I guess my trip might be over, but we took the drive shaft off, winched up, and the rest of the day and a half or 2 days that we were up there, I just put it in, front wheel drove it the whole way. I couldn't do everything that everybody else was doing, but we didn't go home.
And there's a point where when something goes bad, whether it's a breakdown or a bad stuck, usually a breakdown, something like that can define your trip one way or the other. If it can either destroy your trip and end it, something you just can't get past, can't fix, or you give up or whatever, or it can make it some of the greatest memories because you did field maintenance or you did what you had to do to be able to continue it and enjoy the rest of it. So I say when we were hiking a lot and backpacking, if you go on a trip, whether it's backpacking, hiking, or overlanding, and everything is easy and everything goes right and you had a good time, it's a good time.
Yep.
But then there's the ones where there was some kind of incident, and whether it's heat exhaustion hiking or a breakdown, or you bend steel on a tree, and then you overcome it and continue and fulfill that weekend or that trip, then it's a memorable trip. It wasn't just a good time, but it was a memorable trip where a disaster was averted and you conquered it and you got through it. Those, to me, are some of the best memories. And when we were backpacking, I used to tell people, if you want to walk in the park, go walk in the park. If you want memories, go out of your comfort zone and go do something that's memorable. And those are some of the best trips and the most exciting and the best, longest lasting memories. And
we actually have a plaque that we used to give to the group. So whenever somebody would do the breakdown or do whatever, right, we would give them the plaque for that trip.
That's cool.
I've won it a couple of times, unfortunately, but we have one guy in the group that just seems to always be the person who ends up going home with the plaque.
And his name on the top of the award?
Yeah.
This is the so-and-so award?
Yes.
Awesome. I don't know. Man, I'm trying to think what my worst experience was jeeping. Right now, looking back now, I'd say it wasn't even I wasn't driving, it wasn't on a trailer or anything, but when my yellow Jeep got wrecked, that hurt.
Heartbreaker.
That hurt, yeah. And my daughter felt so bad, and it was 100% the other driver's fault. She was sitting still at a red light, and overshot his turn, had snow on his windshield, and drove right straight into the driver's wheel, and just destroyed the front end of my Jeep. And she felt so bad because she asked me if she could take it that day, and I was like, yeah, you got to for work. She was going up to the 7-Slot Grill in Reed City, and she wanted to take her boyfriend up there. He'd never been, so she's like, can I take the Jeep? And I I said this before on the other video. I was like, yeah, you're going to 7-slot grill, you got to take a Jeep.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, go do it. And then somebody hit her and wrecked the Jeep, and the kids were fine, but she just was so upset, thinking I was going to be mad. And it's one of those things. The kids were okay. The Jeep is repairable, or in this case, replaceable. But that one was that one hurt to lose.
Well, yeah, always it's because of all that work you put into it, and time and effort and money. And
at the end of the day, it's just a vehicle, but it's what we do. It's our hobby.
Right.
So it wasn't just a vehicle in a sense, but what came out of it is I got out of a 3.8. I'm in a 3.6 now, which is a nicer motor, more power. We got the trailer. You just got to get past stuff like that.
Right.
And we're in a good situation still. Nobody got hurt, so it was all good in the end. But I think that probably I would have to say right now is first. When I try to think, like you said, it's hard to think of bad memories without there being something really catastrophic. And so looking back at actual Jeeping, I can't think of too many bad memories. Losing that Jeep was a kick in the gut, but we're setting good now, so it's all good.
Because like you said, even if you break something or break down or nobody's getting hurt, it's just the vehicle.
It's frustrating until you get past it. And
hey, the great thing about a Jeep is a lot of times you can get back on the road and get out.
Yeah. And if you're with a group, it's nice because everybody has their different strengths, and if you can't figure it out, one of the guys in the group or ladies, there's a lot of great lady Jeepers out there too. So when I say guys, I mean everybody. There's a lot of other great Jeepers out there that can help and do. I've helped people on the side of the road that weren't Jeepers, and they're very thankful. And I told them straight up, I said, if you're broke down, it was an older couple. I said, if you're ever broke down or stuck or anything, you look for a Jeep going by that doesn't look normal. If it looks lifted or big tires or whatever, chances are they're gonna be willing to help you. They're gonna have recovery gear. They're gonna have tools. They're gonna have some knowledge generally. And off-roaders, again, I don't want to stick just to Jeepers because I don't care if you're driving a Toyota or whatever you're driving. The off-road community is generally very helpful people.
Mm-hmm.
And like any group, you got your bad eggs out there, but overwhelmingly in the off-road community, man, they're just on or off-road, just very helpful people. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen, Jeeps pulled over helping somebody out, or in the winter in Michigan getting them unstuck, pulling a car out of a ditch, whatever.
Oh, wow.
But it's a lot of fun. Anyway, like I said earlier, we were joking about Jeep owners or Jeepers, which are people who live the Jeep culture. And everybody's heard of the mall crawler. That's your Jeep owner.
Right.
Never see the dirt roads or the off-roading, but it's all fun. It's all good.
Yep.
So, all right. I think we got through our 10 questions. I think we'll wrap this one up.
All right.
So,
cool.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Anytime.
If you've seen Mike helping me out with this Jeep, I want to get him in here. I got a couple of overlanders, our friends. If you watch the overlanding channel, then Kill Quest, I want to get them out here. So, got a couple others lined up. So stay tuned. I'm not sure how quickly they'll come out, but thanks for watching.